Hey, it's Johnny Marks. Thank you so much for checking out the Marks in the Morning podcast. Remember, you can listen to myself, Kerri, Mac, and JP weekdays from 6 to 10 live on K92.3.
On K92.3.
Can I get a countdown?
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, it's Friday, Junior. We're almost to the weekend. It's Marks in the Morning. It's not going to be record-breaking warm today, but it's also not going to snow, right? Just heard Rebecca's forecast, about 50 today. 34 right now. It's not raining right now at the moment, but still cloudy. I enjoyed it last night. Haven't heard a thunderstorm in a while. Had a tornado watch and everything. You got a little there, Kerri, of Iowa's finest weather wackiness all in a span of about 12 hours. Did you enjoy that?
I thought it was wild, and I also had my sound machine on, so I had oceans playing while there was thunder in the background. So I was like, what's going on here? Am I in a shipwreck?
You must have been all sorts of confused. Do you have, back home in Pennsylvania, do they have a lot of tornadoes? I know they have tornadoes. It's not a foreign thing, but do you get a lot? Is there like a season like we have here?
Kind of, but it's more like tornado warnings. We haven't had too many tornadoes in my neck of the woods, but
Yeah, good.
I know out in NEPA, northeastern Pennsylvania, they do have them sometimes.
It does seem like wherever there's farmland, there are tornadoes. Of course, they happen in the South, too. They've happened in Nashville not terribly long ago. So we know they can happen anywhere. It didn't happen here, which is good. But for a while, we were in a tornado watch. Hey, today we've got a big artist watch. Justin Moore will join us this morning after 8 o'clock on the show. We got a very big show, very busy show. Justin will be on after 8 o'clock. We've got Lee Brice tickets, our last pair, because he's going to be on the 13th, which is this Saturday already. He's going to be at the Five Flags Center. Don't worry about running here to get your tickets. We'll just send them to Will Call so you can show up in Dubuque on the 13th, which is Saturday, and enjoy yourself a show. With Lee Brice. Nice to have live music back. Justin Moore, as I mentioned, is coming a couple times, so we'll talk more about that with him. And we've also got Gender Bender, sponsored by Silver Eagle Harley Davidson. We'll give away a Silver Eagle gift card later on this morning on Marks in the Morning. A lot of people get excited for March Madness. Last year it was taken away, and I know a lot of people are really, really fired up. We have Marks Madness, which we'll get to after 7 on the show, not sports related, but I will say this, productivity at work goes down when people are invested in the games. And, of course, a lot of them are during the day. They're not all in prime time because you have so many teams. Your Orange are playing. They played yesterday at 11 our time. And they're playing again today. And poor Kerri. Kerri had meetings yesterday after the show at 11. I think you've got another one today.
Yep.
And she's like, not 11. And I was like, what's wrong with 11? It's nice and early. I'd love an 11 o'clock meeting. And she's like, well, that's when Syracuse is playing. I'm like, you can't watch that anyways at work, but I get you.
Yeah, I've been listening. I've been listening to one of the local NPR stations out there. So,
do you have? They stream the games? That surprises me. I didn't know that. Anyways, ISU, the Cyclones lost yesterday to the Sooners of Oklahoma. They've won 2 games this year. Have the Cyclones. So maybe football is going to be more their thing for the next few years. But we got hope for the Hawkeyes. All right, coming up on the show in a little bit. I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, Kerri, you put out an article. You were talking about how Iowa wanted to eliminate daylight saving time, or at least it was a bill floating through. Mm-hmm. That must have caught steam because there's a chance that when we go forward, spring forward this weekend, it'll be the last time. And I don't mean in Iowa, I mean the whole country. There's a chance. And more than, I don't know if I should put a percentage on it, but there's a pretty good chance we'll be done with daylight saving time. I will give you in random facts a little of the history on why it ever was a thing and why the reason it was invented is hardly relevant in 2021. It really wasn't relevant in 1921 either, but we'll get into it coming up on Rising Issue. Kind of. For a lot of people it is. I'm talking about daylight saving time. For sure, it's happening this weekend, Saturday night / Sunday, whatever time you go to bed or whatever. Set that clock forward an hour. Yes, we do lose an hour of sleep, but we also gain an hour of daylight. Will this be the end of daylight saving time? It's not a left side or right side of the aisle thing anymore. There's actually a bipartisan bill in the Senate, and I don't mean the Iowa Senate. Kerri had that story last week. It's now in the U.S. Senate to make Sunday's time change final. No more time changes. If it can become law before November, that is, because otherwise we'll end up falling back, right? In November, right after Halloween, like we always do. But if it does become law, daylight saving time would be gone for good and wouldn't change back in the fall. Now, what is the reason for it? A lot of people say extra light for kids or for the bus stop or whatever. Not really. It was originally created standard time as it is, made sense a long, long time ago, 100 plus years ago, to help with train travel. But at this point, the best argument seems to be, well, we're just doing things the way they've always been done, right? I mean, yeah, people still do ride trains, no doubt about it, but it's not like it used to be. Daylight savings time has been connected to fewer car accidents, lower risk for heart attacks and strokes, fewer robberies, and less energy usage. So those are the pros for keeping it, a.k.a. never falling back.
Okay.
And I don't know, the pros for falling back are you get an extra hour of sleep, right? That's about it. I know, that's how I feel. But we'd get used to it, right? Anyways, if this becomes law before November, it would be what we call standard time or daylight saving time for good. Thoughts on this? I know. What are your thoughts? I know you wrote the piece a couple months ago. It was a big story. And now, obviously, I was not the only state to go, hey, this is kind of silly.
Yeah.
It's caught on.
It's a really interesting thing because we've all grown up with it for so long. It's like adding different. It's like when people added 50 states to the union or whatever in the 50s, like added a state, added Hawaii or whatever in the 50s, I assume. But it's really interesting. What I'm looking forward to, though, when we move forward, when we spring forward, is that I don't have to change my clock because it's still on Eastern time in my car.
Oh, my gosh. I never even thought of that. Yeah, you'll be right back to your Eastern time. Of course, they'll be going forward, too, but that's a small detail. All right, there you go. For sure, we're going forward this weekend, so don't forget to set the old clock ahead an hour. I know that's an archaic thing to say because unlike, 15, 20 years ago, we all have cell phones that do it for us. But yeah, your car will need it. Or in Kerri's case, will not need it. Back with news and weather next. Marks in the Morning rolls on. I'm going to share with you our two options for our Throwback Thursday Throwdown when we come back. We'll also hear new Blake shouting minimum wage. All right, so it's 6:40 right now. About 10 minutes, we'll get some news from Kerri Mack, Nashville News, that is. And this Sunday, we're going to find out who's playing in the big tournament, NCAA tournament. You, as an Iowan, are in one of the best states for the tournament. You're in one of the best states to be a college basketball fan. Wallet Hub every year puts out their study that finds the best cities to live in, and Iowa's loaded. I mean, a lot of the states on this list that have multiple cities are states without pro teams. For example, up in Minnesota, they only had one city that made this poll, but they have every sport, right? Mm-hmm. In Iowa, we don't. We have college sports. The highest city on Wallet Hub's best city to be a college basketball fan was Iowa City. Well, we all know who plays there. But Cedar Falls was on the list in the top 100. In fact, they were number 74.
Wow.
I should say are number 74, which is so cool. Des Moines is at 213. Of course, Drake, the big college there. And I think that's pretty sweet. Ames also, although ISU not this year for college basketball, but Ames also made the list, which is kind of fun. They were number 30. I take that back. They were number 30. They actually were higher than Iowa City. So we had number 30 and 31 on the list. We're in the 200s with Des Moines, and then we got Cedar Falls, number 74. How cool is that?
That's really cool. The first thing I noticed when I got here was how enthusiastic everyone were for the local college teams.
Yeah, you'll find UNI is well represented. Don't get me wrong. People love UNI, but obviously the big D1 schools are going to they're going to get the most love. Ames, ISU, and of course Iowa Hawkeye fans, which in this area are abundant. See a lot of Hawkeye flags when you drive by people's yards. Our own staff will wear Iowa Hawkeyes gear year-round. I mean, there's almost always a sport of some sort that they're playing. So we're getting into that exciting time of the year. The biggest, best, most fun city for March Madness in college basketball in general is Durham, North Carolina.
Oh, I can imagine. I would love to be there during March. That would be so much fun.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be, though? Unless their team loses.
Unless their team loses. But they have NC State and UNC, so they're pretty stacked down there.
Yeah, they're pretty well set. Lexington, Kentucky, and East Lansing, Michigan round out the top three.
Oh, my gosh, Kentucky. That would be really cool.
Kentucky would be. The biggest big city on here, there's two in the top 10. L.A., California, of course. There's a lot of colleges out that way. And then PA, your home state. Pennsylvania is well represented with Philadelphia at number 8. Otherwise, it's a lot of smaller towns. Not small, but smaller in a lot of states like Iowa, Arkansas, West Virginia. They don't have the big pro teams to root for. I mean, North Carolina, I guess you could argue, doesn't really either. All right, we'll be back in a couple minutes. You have Nashville news for us, Kerri. Excited to hear what you got. Can you give us a sneak peek?
Yeah, one of our favorite K-Country stars is on TikTok, and all I have to say is let's go, girls.
Yeah, oh, okay. I think I might have an idea of who. We'll find out next. What's in the morning on K92.3, the Cedar Valley's _1 for new country. Guess who? In an hour will join us on the show. 7:05 now, about 8:05. We'll have Justin Moore on. He'll give us some insight on that song, another #1 hit for him called Why We Drink, and much more. We'll talk to him, puns intended, except for when I said more on, which makes it sound like moron. That's not what I meant.
Oh, no. I wonder if he gets that. If he probably got that as a kid.
These are the questions we won't bother him with. Are you related? Are you related to Kip Moore? No, they're not related. I think Kip's been on his podcast, but they're not related. We won't ask him about his son who just broke his arm on the trampoline.
Oh, I think it was his leg, wasn't it?
Well, his leg, thank you. Yeah, not his arm. We won't ask him about that because A, it's already been out, and B, he probably feels terrible about it because it was on his watch. It was on Dad's watch while his wife, his mom of the kids, was away.
Oh, no, but we'll tell him to break a leg, like metaphorically.
Yeah, of course, when he gets back on the road. So that's coming up on the show. It's 7:05, and 2 times a week here through the month of March, we're doing something called Mark's Madness. That's right. It's tournament time, baby. What I'm doing is pitting one of my favorite things versus either one of James's favorite things, JP, or one of Kerri Mac's favorite things. Now, I have a little bit of vengeance on my mind because you beat me a couple of rounds ago, and then I'm pretty sure you beat me again in the last round. I haven't checked the votes in about 2 or 3 days. But as of Monday, when we started it, let me back up here. So this is where I take one of my favorite things and pit it up against one of theirs. We started this off with food and drink. I handily beat JP in the steak category. He likes well done. I said medium rare.
Because that's disgusting. Yours is just what a basic human being wants.
Thank you. But that's where the pleasantries between Kerri and I ended, because then she went with red wine and I went with old fashions. My very specific cocktail versus an entire genre of wine, and I lost. And then it was Avengers versus Marvel. We've segued out of food and drink into entertainment, which is where we'll stay again today. But before we get to that, unless I'm wrong, did the Avengers beat Star Wars? This is just franchise versus franchise.
I'm pretty sure. I'm going to have to go and double check. But it looked like Iron Man was going to beat your little Luke Skywalker.
Oh, that's funny. That's cute.
That's cute. That's cute that mine makes so much money. No.
Both of those characters are dead, so be careful what you say.
No, don't spoil it. Luke Skywalker.
Don't spoil it. It's 4 years old. Both of those franchises killed off those characters a long time ago. All right, so here's what we're doing today. We're moving from high-quality, high-brow entertainment like Star Wars and Marvel to much lower-brow entertainment. Kerri, why don't you? I'll be a gracious host for Mark's Madness and let you tell us first what your pick is for today as we stay in the entertainment world.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, I also feel like the loser should have to watch whatever the winner...
Oh, God, that's not what we talked about. You're going to make JP eat a medium rare steak? I guess that'd be okay.
No, but I feel like you should watch whatever...
in this one?
Because I know I'll win. Because I picked trashy reality TV, Real Housewives, The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise. This is all amazing content. We get amazing moments like the whole Real Housewives of New York City stuff. Beverly Hills, Bachelor, Bachelorette. We get the drama. We get the real life, air quotes stuff. Yeah. I think it'll win because
I don't know what's more fake. Your pick of trashy reality shows or my pick, professional wrestling. Yes, that's right. I am going with pro wrestling. Da da da. You have a lot of options for pro wrestling. I mean, I'll just say WWE because that's what I grew up on. But there's a lot of other brands out there. To each their own. Choose whichever one you want if you're a wrestling fan. And help me beat reality TV. I mean, there's no doubt pro wrestling is scripted and predetermined. But there's also no doubt that there's actual athleticism, charisma, and talent needed for pro wrestling. Whereas for poopy reality shows, all you need to do is have a pulse.
No, that is incorrect. First off, I know that many of these things are so scripted, and if I
That's what I'm
wasn't
saying.
if I wasn't doing this job, I would definitely be a reality TV producer because I would love to manipulate people like that.
Oh, great.
But there are fights in reality TV. Real Housewives of New Jersey, Teresa flipped a table.
Did she flip a table or did somebody off camera say, flip the table, Teresa?
No, she flipped the table. I think it was at her nephew's baptism or something.
That's a good place to flip a table.
It is.
I think hand in hand, these two genres go together. But today we're pitting them against each other. We're talking trashy reality like The Bachelor, Real Housewives, and I don't know, Electric Eels of the South or whatever they have.
What? That's not a show.
Electric Eel. And I have put professional wrestling up against it. I would appreciate your vote today. I really would. How do we vote, Kerri Mac?
You can go vote on the K923 page, Facebook page, actually. It's going to be up there in just a few minutes.
All right, it's as simple as using the emoji that corresponds with whichever genre you want to choose. Thank you in advance for picking pro wrestling. It's Mark's Madness. Mark's in the morning. All right, we got to talk almost to the weekend. A little bit cooler this weekend, unfortunately, but you know what? Still a weekend coming up. It's daylight saving time, so remember to fast forward that clock an hour, either before bed Saturday or Sunday morning, whichever clocks that is that don't do it on their own. And we were talking earlier in the show, and you can read more on our app, but this might be it. This might be permanent daylight saving time. That's up to the government, of course, but there's more of a movement for it in 2021 than there has been in the past. And it does flare up every now and then. So check that story out and lots more on our app. Justin Moore will join us after 8 o'clock. We've got Lee Brice tickets later in the show. We got free food from McDonald's. And, of course, first and foremost, Gender Bender in about 20 minutes. We'll take a couple callers and get you ready for that. If you haven't heard by now, that big Oprah spectacular from last Sunday drew big ratings, 17+ million. And that was just the ratings for real time, people that sat and watched it that evening or streamed it on CBS's app or whatever. I'm sure the ratings have ticked up since you have DVRs and replays, plus all the foreign countries that showed it, including obviously the UK, where they heavily invested. Well, even if you're not a fan or you don't care about the drama there, Piers Morgan, the famous TV host, I think he took over for Larry King. Otherwise, he's much better known in the UK, much better known in the European scene than the American scene. He's on a morning show, like a Today Show, not a radio show, but a TV show. Like a Today Show or CBS This Morning or whatever those are called. Do you know what it's called?
It's called Good Morning Britain, so it's essentially just Good Morning America.
Yeah, there you go. Well, he was on the show after haranguing Meghan Markle for a long time now. This is nothing new, but he was really going off on her after the Oprah spiel.
Yeah, oh my God. I just couldn't stand to watch it, and that's what a lot of people, and the person who called him out for it on air.
One of his co-hosts.
Oh my gosh, he ripped him a new one.
Yeah, it's out there online. You can watch it. There's no bad words or anything. But after about 20 seconds, at least in the clip we watched the other day, and after about 20 seconds, Pierce said, okay, that's it. I've heard enough. And he walked out. And he didn't just walk out, have a hissy fit, talk to a producer, eat a cookie, and come back. He's gone. Apparently, he quit the show. And I don't think too many of his co-hosts were upset. There were like 4 people other than him there. Mm-hmm. So he appears to be done. It's a pretty spectacular way to quit something, to do it in front of, and according to his Twitter, of course, this Piers' Twitter, that was their highest rated episode of that show. Let's just say a couple million people watched it in real time. That's a spectacular way to quit. Most of us don't have that opportunity to have a huge audience. Maybe a few coworkers around, but probably not as many as he had. But there's still some great stories out there of how people quit their jobs. I'd love to hear yours. You can tap the message button on the K92.3 app. If you'd like, if it's a little longer, you can call us up at 833-4985. Kerri, are you still early in your career? I don't suppose you have one?
No, I hate to say it, I've never, obviously I've had to quit because a lot of the jobs I've had were seasonal.
Yeah.
Whether it was an internship or it was a summer camp job. But let's hope I don't have one of those anytime soon. I'm really hoping for it.
If you do, I hope it's not on this station.
Yeah. But Johnny, have you ever, because I'm not saying you're old, but you've been around for a while, so.
What? I didn't hear you. Let me turn my hearing aid up. What? You didn't say I was what?
I didn't say you were old, but you've been around the block a few times in this industry. So
I've been around long enough to have one story that it's going to be disappointing. I hope people don't think it's spectacular because I'm not a public person. I'm a somewhat public figure, but I don't do things in public. If you go on any of my social media, I'm not a big fan of, hey, look at me. But I did have a job at a station in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Yeah, it's way up there, about an hour and a half, 90 minutes or so from Fargo. Don't you know? Yeah, which I had a part-time job. So I was commuting. And I really wanted the Fargo job. I was a big market at a really well-known radio station up there. It's still around, still very successful. And the guy that hired me at this station, I won't even say the call letters, but he hired me and he sold me on a false bill of goods. I actually left the job here in Iowa, in Decorah, where I was working, to go up there. And the guy was a jerk. He was a terrible boss. He's not around anymore. He may not even be alive, so I don't want to speak too ill of him. He was not in the best of health then. But he lied. He told me I was going to be doing this morning show, blah, blah, blah. I got there. He wouldn't show me around. I should have been suspicious. I was very young, in my early 20s. Wouldn't show me around the station. Didn't even want to meet me at the station. He met me for lunch somewhere. And he couldn't have been nicer there, of course. Picked up the tab. We had a nice lunch. Detroit Lakes is a beautiful city right on Big Detroit Lake. Well, the job stunk. He had me in the afternoons. I was writing commercials on a typewriter.
Oh,
yes,
my gosh.
You say I've been around the block a few times. This was the age of Windows XP. We're not talking typewriters anymore. So I was on typewriters and I was doing stupid news reports. And it was just not what I wanted. It wasn't what I wanted. If I wanted to do news, I'd get into news, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't want to and still don't want to be a news guy. So it didn't end well. And then I heard he had a live broadcast with another guy because this guy, the guy who hired me, was also doing some on-air stuff. So he had a live broadcast, and it's the same here. When we have a live broadcast, we can talk to the people at the studio, if there are any people back at the studio to help us out, and nobody else can hear it. Well, he was talking about me behind my back, but he knew I could hear.
Oh, my gosh.
He knew I could hear. And I won't even tell you what he was saying. So I wrote up a resignation letter on that awful typewriter in the basement and slipped it under his desk and then prank called him a few times. But that's not important.
Wait, what?
But,
you prank called him?
I was kind of a jerk. Yeah, well, he was kind of a jerk too. I would like randomly call him at 2:30 in the morning because I was working part-time, so there were days I was doing nothing.
Yeah.
Which, shame on me. I should have been a little more mature. But anyways, I want to hear you. A couple years old now. Dirk's working on some new music. If you go back in time and watch the video for that song, one of his sons appears in it. So it's kind of a cute video. I think they're go-kart racing, if I remember. All right, we got a couple messages. I'll move this along quick because we got to get to Gender Bender. We'll post something on Facebook later because these stories can be too good to just talk about for 10 seconds and move on. But we're busy on our Facebook page now, so it'll go up a little later. This is from Jesse. It's spelled weird, but I assume that's what it's supposed to say. I remember thinking I knew it all at age 18. I worked at, I'm just going to say, a popular drive-through restaurant. Can I say that? You kind of have an understanding. A particularly rude coworker demanded that I help them with an order. I was very busy doing my job at the time when we were short-staffed. So I snapped, stopped, finished the order I was working on. I can't say what she said. Said some bad words and then stormed off into my car and drove into what was the actual sunset. So it must have been evening time. That's funny. You were already short-staffed, so I'm sure the coworker that was stuck dealing with the rest of it loved it.
Oh, my gosh. That must have been some comeuppance right there.
Yeah, no kidding. This one is from Jefferson. Jefferson writes, when I was younger, I worked at a bookstore. Again, I won't say which one. There was a customer chewing me out, and I was just standing there taking it. It wasn't so much that was the problem. It was afterwards, my boss, who was also working at the register next to me, didn't say anything and told me I didn't handle it right later when we were talking. I said, what? I didn't do anything. And he said, that's the point. I said, well, what am I supposed to do? And he said, you're supposed to handle it better, but never elaborated. So I said, people in their bad words, and stormed off. That wasn't as public, though. It would have been better if you'd stormed off right in front of the angry customer, but I get it.
Yeah, if you literally threw the book at them, that would have been great. But it seems like the big problem there was that the superior wasn't helping out the employee, pointing them in the correct direction that they wanted.
Well, how was I supposed to do it?
Exactly.
Well, not the way you did it.
Exactly.
Isn't that how I work with you here? I'm like, that was wrong. Do it again. What was wrong about it? Just do it again.
No, you're a little bit better.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit.
All right, we got to move on because we're a few minutes away from Gender Bender. It's 23-20. Guys, you're losing to the ladies in Gender Bender. You're playing for a Silver Eagle gift card, and you're going to play next on Marks in the Morning. This is...
He's ready. Are you ready? It's time to play Gender Bender on Marks in the Morning. Hey, Johnny Marks, who are our contestants today?
This morning, a couple of determined players are going to battle it out for a Silver Eagle gift card. Let's meet them now. Bree is on line 3. Bree, how are you doing today?
Good.
And you're calling from Cloutier, is that right?
Yep.
Wow. There's like 107 people that live there, give or take. You must be like one of the only families in the city. I mean, like it's, I feel like the entire town is on your shoulders today. You're representing everybody, male and female, from Cloutier. Well, we thank you for calling in, and you'll be playing here in a second against your opponent, who is Mark, who's out near Shell Rock right now. Mark, how are you doing?
Good, doing great.
And you're on your way. You said that you have to drop somebody off, or what are you up to right now?
Yeah, I got to drop my son off to get a loaner car. His is in the shop, and then my daughter doesn't have school today because they're playing basketball down there for AP.
Oh,
and
sure.
So she's going to work with me today.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, that'll be fun. You're each going to be playing Gender Bender, and of course, the point is to get a better score than your opponent. The better score wins, but if we need to, we'll go to a tiebreaker. We have 3 questions for each of you. Bree, you got in first this morning. What's the deal? Are you starting off, or is Mark?
Mark can start.
All right. Kerri Max got Mark's questions. Good luck, Mark.
Okay, Mark, I hope you know your Iowa geography because this question threw me for a second. What river runs through Independence, Iowa?
Let's see. Not the Iowa River. No. Let's see.
No.
I should know that. I got customers over there.
Yeah. What's the answer, Kerri? Whoopsie.
It is Wapsipinicon.
Wapsipinicon. That's all right. You've still got 2 more to go here.
Okay, what kind of spa treatment are you getting when they cocoon your body with strips of cloth soaked in herbal tea?
Wow.
Oh, I don't know. No, I have no idea what that is.
I don't either.
It's a body wrap or an herbal wrap.
Okay. Sounds healthy.
Well, something else that might sound healthy. This is your final question. What sandwich spread comes in chunky and smooth?
Peanut butter.
Yeah.
What do you prefer, Mark? Are you a chunky peanut butter fan or a smooth peanut butter fan?
Oh, no, I'm Skippy Creamy.
There you go. Okay, that's good stuff. All right, Bree, you're up. Your score to beat is 1. We'll see how you do. Of course, we could still end up with a tie, Mark, so don't give up just yet. Bree, question number 1. You know what? You did Iowa, so I'll do an Iowa question. Bree, Nordic Fest is a 3-day event that happens in which Iowa city? Is it Waukon, Decorah, or Lawler?
Decorah.
Yeah, Decorah. Nordic Fest is it's a lot of fun. And I think it had to be canceled last year, unfortunately. Question number 2. Let's talk about baseball. What is it called when a batter swings and misses?
A strike.
A strike. No, don't overthink it. No. Question number 3. What's a biker's nickname for transmission fluid? Cherry juice, red slime, or berry blast?
Cherry juice.
That is right. Very good. So if somebody says your car is leaking cherry juice, you should probably get it looked at. There we go. Was that a perfect score? I think it was. Congratulations, Bree. That was a fun round. Mark, you can call us back tomorrow and try again, okay? We still got another day left.
You betcha. Good job, Bree.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We'll talk to you again very soon on Marks in the Morning, I hope. I didn't ask you, Bree, I talked to you about where you're from, but what are you up to? What do you got going on this morning?
I just dropped my boyfriend off in Cedar Falls, so I just got back home to Cloutier.
How about that? How long a drive is that? About 30 minutes? 40 minutes?
30 to 40.
Yeah, I guess you're 1 county over. Well, that's good. Do you work in Cloutier? Oh, are there any jobs in Cloutier?
There's like a library and the water company.
Hey, there you go. Everybody when they're a kid in Clutier, they aspire to get to the water company, right? That's where they want to be.
Oh, yeah.
Kerri Mack and I are very excited to have Justin Moore on the phone with us right now, welcoming him to K Country. Welcome, Justin Moore. How are you?
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. I'm doing well. I mean, that's a kind of been a relative term over the past year. But we're all good, man. Just ready to get back out there on the road and get on stage for sure.
I know everybody's ready. We've got you coming. You're actually coming twice to Iowa here in the near future. You're coming in July for the Buchanan County Fair, which everybody's super excited about. And then you'll be in Cedar Rapids in September. And I know the hope is, all right, no more of this social distancing. Let's go elbow to elbow and have some fun as a big group. What is it like to have music? You're sitting on music and you can't perform it in front of an audience. Is that just a big bummer, or have you learned to cope with it?
I mean, it's been difficult, obviously, and I don't want to diminish, anyone out there who's had a lot more difficult time than we have, because, my family and my band and crew and myself and everybody that I'm close to, we haven't lost any lives or anything like that. And certainly people out there all over the world have. But relating it to our jobs and what we love to do, which is get out there and tour and play live music, as you said, it was tough, man. I mean, that's who we are and what we do. And, to just have it completely taken away from you is pretty difficult to, find your footing and redefine roles at home and all those things. And, really what it did for not only me and the artists in particular, I mean, it's your entire family. We have a certain life rhythm that we're accustomed to. And, I've done it my entire kids' lives. And so, yeah, it was a difficult adjustment, but, we're doing as well as we can do, trying to stay busy and trying to just take advantage of the additional time at home with family that we've had.
Yeah, I can imagine how difficult that is to adjust. From an artistic standpoint, how did you find it recording and creating music at home?
Yeah, so really, I haven't felt that creative, to be quite honest with you. I think may have written one song this past year, which is rare, obviously for me, and just haven't really been in the mindset to write. So, but that being said, I was very fortunate that when we put the last album together, we had, probably 30 or 40 songs that we loved, and we wrote all of them or found all of them at the same time. So this is kind of an extension of the Late Nights and Long Necks album that we're putting out here shortly. We had already recorded all these songs. We didn't have to deal with the challenges of going into the studio, et cetera, through a pandemic. So that was a blessing. We knew we were going to put these songs out on a coming album, and I'm happy that we're able to do that here pretty soon.
One of my favorite songs in the last 5 years in country music was Why We Drink, which, congratulations, a #1 hit for you. Definitely not your last, and definitely not your first either. I wish I could talk to you for 20 minutes about that song, but I won't. But I do have to ask, there's a line in that song, it's alcohol abuse if you pour one down the sink, which, by the way, when you do get out on tour again, people better raise a drink when you sing that line. Where did that come from? I've never heard that if it's an expression previous to the song, I'd never heard it. That is ingenious, in a word.
Well, thank you. No, that's an expression. Maybe it's a Southern thing or something. I don't know. I've heard it for years and years, and it's usually not used if you pour it down the sink, but if somebody spills a beer or something,
okay.
You go, hey, man, that's alcohol abuse. So I can't take credit for coming up with it. I heard that somewhere years ago.
Well, you could have said, yeah, it was all me, and I would have believed you, because I love that line.
Well, hey, I live with 3 daughters and a wife. I'm not accustomed to getting credit for anything.
Oh, okay. I'm going to get one more quick question on Why We Drink. I've got to ask, is it true that your mom had some inspiration in that song?
Yeah, we live really close to my parents, and we are really close to my parents. My wife and kids and I, and we were out to dinner somewhere like a Chili's or a Fridays, a real classy joint.
Oh yeah.
This was a few years back, and I don't know, I'd ordered 2 or 3 drinks before our meal got there, and my dad didn't drink, so he was driving us. And my mom, who's drinking a margarita at the time, mind you, goes, "Why do you drink so much?" And I go, I don't know. I like it. It makes me feel good. I enjoy it. And so it kind of gave me the idea. I had this title for a while, and I threw it out to my co-writers at the time, which was David Lee Murphy and Casey Beathard and Jeremy Stover. And one of them goes, "I don't know, because it's Friday, because it's Monday, because," I go, "Yeah." And I hadn't figured out yet how to write it. When whichever one said that, we go, that's the way to write it right there. And we wrote all these songs for that last album, and all that you'll hear on this album down at our beach house in Florida. And we wrote that song in probably 20 minutes, standing in my swimming pool. So it kind of fell out of us.
That's awesome. You know what? We're talking to Justin Moore, by the way, K-Country superstar right now. Let's take a break there for just a sec. We got to talk. He just teased a little bit of that new album. We got to talk about that. And Kerri has a great question for Justin that we'll get to here when we revisit with him. Marks in the Morning on K92.3. And Kerri, what was your question?
Your song, We Didn't Have Much. I'm a huge fan of just embracing simplicity. Did you find that you had to do that this year too?
Yeah, no doubt about it. When this whole thing started, I started a podcast, which has been a lot of fun. I'm certainly not a professional on that side of the mic like you guys, but I've enjoyed it. But one of our first guests was Tracy Lawrence, and he had made the point, which I related to, that this time had kind of forced him and his family to lead a more simple life than what they're accustomed to. And, it sounds cliche, but literally borrowing eggs from their neighbors and stuff like that. And, especially early on. And I kind of shared the same experience here with my family. And when I heard the song, I love the song regardless, but it really kind of spoke to the beauty in that simplicity and reminded me of my youth. And we just thought the timing was perfect, and I've learned over the years throughout my career, if I can relate to something personally, usually a lot of folks can.
Yeah, the lyric, the first line about Tonka trucks, you had me, because that was my upbringing right there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you.
I personally am a huge fan of your podcast. I've been listening. I think you have some amazing people, like you had Kip Moore. One of our listeners wants to know, who is your dream guest on the podcast?
Well, thank you, first and foremost. I appreciate that. We just act like idiots for an hour and a half usually. But, somebody asked me that the other day, and I had to kind of think about it because we really have had some really cool guests. Probably if I go the artist direction, my favorite artist of all time is Dwight Yoakam. So I would probably go there just because he was such a huge influence on me in music. And, I've met him a number of times, and we've had the opportunity to talk and all that. But he's just a really super interesting guy, too. I think people would enjoy that.
Yeah, and he's had some big changes in his life recently. So, yeah, he'd definitely be a great get. We asked our audience, okay, what do you want to know from Justin? And you've kind of teased it a little bit in our chat here. Late Nights and Long Necks, the follow-up, the next studio album. We have one song from there. Do you have any more info, a release date? Is this upcoming tour to support a new album, or what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it's coming out really soon. I don't know if I'm supposed to say or not. But, I usually always get in trouble. But yeah, we're really, really close. It's done. We've already done all the album artwork, etc. So look out in the next, I'll just say, 6-8 weeks, something like that.
Your management's been very nice to us, so we don't want to tick anybody off. We'll be patient.
I'm always the last to know anything in my career, to be honest with you. So they're like, hey, talk about this. Hey, don't talk about that. And usually it's after I've already either talked about it or not talked about it. So.
Well, we won't get you in any trouble, nor ourselves, and ask any more. But we'll look forward to that. And Justin, I've heard actually you talked to our friends at Taste of Country Nights. I know you're not a huge fan of social media, but you are on Twitter. You're on Instagram, last I checked. So people should definitely check you out there and stay tuned for more. Because, no pun intended, but I know we'll have a lot more Justin Moore. And for tickets to his show, Justin's got 2 shows coming up, but the Buchanan County Fair tickets are on sale. We have a link on our K92.3 app and website. We'll push it to the top so people can find it easy. And Justin, thank you so much. We can't wait to have you back in Iowa a couple times in the near future.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all's time and continued support, and look forward to getting out that direction here fairly soon.
Can't wait. Thank you so much. Justin Moore on Marks in the Morning. Check out more from our podcast later on. Again, no pun intended, on the mighty K92.3. Our podcast goes up shortly after the show is done.
This truck.
Marks in the Morning. It's K92.3. 10 minutes till Nashville News, about 20 minutes before the top of the hour here. After 9 o'clock, we've got Lee Brice tickets. Big show, Lee Brice, coming to the Five Flag Center in Dubuque. It was about 80, 90-minute drive. That's this Saturday. Weather will cooperate. Won't be the warmest day, but it's an indoor show, so who cares, right? You'll go for free if you win, and we'll explain how we're going to do things after the top of the hour. Weird News Rodeo still to come and much more. Those traffic cams, stoplight cams and speed cameras and whatnot, kind of a big issue in the state of Iowa. Are you for them? Are you against them? A lot of people are against them. A lot of states, a lot of cities have banned them for different reasons.
I know Iowa is trying to get rid of traffic cameras right now.
A lot of people, and a lot of people hate them. Hannah's dad just got a ticket. He was down in Cedar Rapids. He flew out to an event in South Carolina a couple weeks ago. I think we talked about it briefly. Well, he must have been speeding because, Cedar Rapids is, and they warn you in Cedar Rapids. Some places they don't warn you. He got popped.
Oh, no.
Automated traffic citation. If you've never gotten one of these before, you get a piece of paper. It looks like somebody put it through a photocopier. It's got your vehicle and your license plate, and then the cost of the ticket. And I don't know if it tells you how fast you were going, but I don't know because I've never actually had one in my hands. But so he got one of those.
Wow.
So I can guarantee you he's probably in favor of getting rid of them.
Probably. They're also so detailed, like the fact that they have the date, and I know some cases they might have the speed or the charge or whatever, but also the photo, the way that they can zoom in on your license plate.
That's weird.
It's so creepy.
We had that story, this was a few weeks ago, about the guy, this was in the UK. He went through one of those cameras. He knew there was a camera there. He went through perfectly fine, no speeding, but then he gave it the finger, and they gave him a citation anyways, even though he didn't break any real rules.
Oh my gosh.
That's one where you get a lawyer and fight that. But anyways, whether you're for him or against him, they're definitely doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
No real snow in the forecast here, but here's one for you. Is make you glad you're in northeast Iowa and not further west. Denver, Colorado, in the next couple of days, might get the biggest snowstorm, I'm not making this up, since 1885.
That was when you were born. Wow, Johnny.
Wow, that's funny.
That's funny.
When JP's not here, you always go after me.
I do. I have a friend in Colorado, and oh my gosh, she loves the snow, but I'm very nervous about this.
It's March, so it won't last. But get this, Denver might get hit with 2 to 3 feet of snow.
Wow.
The biggest snowstorm since 1885, poised to hit Denver and other parts of the state like Fort Collins, Colorado. Have you ever been out? You've never been that far west, right?
This is the farthest west I've ever been.
We went out to a city in Colorado called Creed. This is about 6 years ago, 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. And we went in July. Their last snowstorm was in June. So it's because of the mountains, because of the altitude. Things are a little different there. Can you imagine? Here it's March. We might get some snow. We might not. At least we know it won't be long. Can you imagine getting snow in March and being like, we still got another 3 months of this? No, thank you.
I couldn't do Colorado. I really couldn't do it.
It's beautiful, but I don't think I could live there. I'm more of an ocean guy than a mountain guy. So
me too.
West isn't really my thing. I'd rather go south than I'd rather go a little east. Anyways, they are just like us. They had about 70 degrees on Tuesday out in Denver, which is just like us, about 20 degrees above normal. Unlike us, they are going to get up to 3 feet of snow in the next couple days. And I did see on the news that system might hit us in the form of rain or light snow. No, nothing like that. But my goodness. Just when you found your car, finally, it goes under the snow again.
Once we finally dug it out.
Yeah. Better get that shovel back out. All right, we'll be back in a couple of minutes with Nashville News. It's Marks in the Morning on the mighty K92.3. We are the Cedar Valley's #1 for new country, 845. I turned my mic off before I did that, but I just shotgunned some leftover chicken, so had a little bit of it stuck in the old throat. You heard it, but nobody else heard that.
I'm sorry. I thought everyone else did.
No. You have a button. Kerri sits on the other side of the control board. I can anytime I want it like that and turn my mic off, but she doesn't have access. So she's got what's called a cough button, and so she can hold that down. Here, try it. Let's see if it works. It won't do anything for me, so you'll have to start talking.
My name is Kerri. I like to go to the supermarket.
Okay. We have to test these things because we don't know if they'll work. But I turned my mic off, so nobody else heard that but you.
I'm sorry. I thought it came through.
Nobody heard it.
If you want some ASMR of some guttural, what's the word, like throat singing? Tune into K92.3, the Cedar Valley's #1 for throat singing.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah, we'll change everything up from #1 for new country to #1 for throat clearing. No, I try not to do that on the air, but sometimes it's going to hit you. Otherwise, you'll hear this pause and then me choking in the background. Is that really any better? Let me ask you something. I was just talking about my chicken. It was we barbecued last weekend. We barbecued a whole bunch of stuff, so I'm still working on some leftovers. Does it count as grilling or making a homemade meal if it doesn't go on social media?
Yes, it does.
It's like the old if a tree falls in the woods, blah, blah, blah. So it does still count. What's the criteria for posting on social media for some people for food? I don't understand it. I really don't. The criteria is if either you made it or if you're out at a nice restaurant with a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, you post so people know you're doing something fun or about to eat something fun. You know me. I'm a huge food poster.
Yes, you are.
There are two things I'll never judge anybody for: posting pictures of their animals and posting pictures of their food, because I'm guilty. Mm-hmm. Or their children. I don't have any, but if I did, they'd be in all my photos because I'm boring and I don't want to look at me, and you probably don't either.
That's the only reason you have kids.
Yeah, well, it's probably the reason a lot of celebrities decide to have them, right? Like, oof. This would be really good for our social media.
Great PR, not great parenting.
Yeah, no, probably not. No, but it's you have a dad who loves to tell stories, right? Doesn't he tell stories like, well, when I was younger, blah, blah, blah. Does he do that a lot?
Yeah.
Social media is the modern day version of that. Instead of, well, in my day, it's, well, this is what I'm doing at this very moment.
Well, in this day, I ate this beautiful chicken sandwich.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's because my food isn't pretty that I don't post a lot of my food. I posted a photo of your wife's brunch that she made us.
That was very good.
A few weeks ago. You can check that out on the K92.3 app. But I don't really post many food pics. I post more drink pics. That's my thing.
Oh, I love drink pics too. Yeah. We'll, from time to time, Kerri and I will grab a beverage after work. I was going to say after the show, but it's hours after the show. It's not like 10:30 and
or hours before the show. It depends on our mood. If it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Monday.
We'll go over to Ari's across the street and just get blitzed at 10:30. No, we like to go to, there are a couple of nice places where the cocktails are, if we get a cocktail, if it's a beer or wine, you know what that looks like. But the cocktails are they're handcrafted. I love that term because have you ever seen a machine make a cocktail? Not cool. But a good handcrafted cocktail where there's a lot of work that goes into it, those are photo worthy. I feel like you're metaphorically tipping the bartender in the restaurant and saying, look what I got at Whiskey Road, for example. They have beautiful cocktails there. So I don't know. I'm not the best on social media. I have social media. It's like Justin Moore we were talking to earlier. He was talking to Taste of Country a couple weeks ago, and he was saying, I'm only on social media for my job. I have some level of enjoyment, but it's predominantly for my job.
Yeah, no, it's the opposite for me. I love posting on social media. I'm on Instagram at Kerri Mac on the mic, by the way, and Twitter at KMac on the mic. Just wanted to throw
Nice
that out
plug.
there. I had to plug the Twitter. We don't plug Twitter enough.
You're right.
Johnny.
We don't. We have a great Twitter page. And Kerri works hard on that. And that's the thing is I like being on social media for work stuff. Mm-hmm. But you like both individual and work.
Yeah, because I get to kind of not vent because I've never been one of those people who vents about my problems on social media. Just minor inconveniences or some jokes I think of. But
Yeah.
I enjoy it because I let off a little steam and I get some social interaction because I don't know too many people here in the area. And I can stay connected with my friends back home.
Kerri Mac got a great picture of, I'm trying to find it, but is it on your Instagram? You got a great picture of a rainbow in Cedar Falls yesterday.
Oh, no, I didn't post that
Oh, you
yet.
haven't posted it.
Should I
No
post
wonder.
it on my Instagram?
Yeah,
today?
it was really nice. Kerri's, what did you say? Your mom? You do the quote. I don't want to mess it up.
I said on a scale of 1 to take selfies with rainbows, how basic am I? And I think that's going to be my Instagram caption.
I would put you at takes pictures with rainbows.
I take selfies with the
Take
rainbows.
selfies. Yeah. It was a
just-
good photo, though.
It was such a beautiful day. It stopped raining.
And you got a nice shot of Main Street. You happen to be on Main
Oh.
Street, and the rainbow like curves over, I don't know, the Blue Room or one of the bars down there. So
Yeah.
when she does get it up, check it out. All right, we've just got a couple minutes to go until we're giving away tickets to see the Cedar Valley's #1 for New Country. Okay, so we have tickets, the last pair of tickets we have for Lee Brice. Lee Brice is going to be at the Five Flag Center in Dubuque coming up very, very soon, this Saturday. And we're having a little fun with an old Lee Brice song called That Don't Sound Like You. And what we've been doing all throughout the month of March and what we were doing in late February is Kerri, myself, and JP, when he was able to join us, we were we're doing accents, different accents. You have to call 833-498-5 and guess what the accent is. Again, kind of our take on That Don't Sound Like You. It's my turn, isn't it, Kerri?
Yes, it is. I'm so ready for this. I hope you get Elmo again.
No, that was JP.
Oh, no, you got Elmo at some
I
point.
thought JP got Elmo, and then I tried to doing Elmo, and you guys said it sounded like Michael Jackson.
I think that's right. You also did Kermit. No, it was just a Muppet.
It was supposed to be Muppet.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to do this? Will be what we call a practice round, and then I will take the reins, and you'll have to call and guess.
Okay.
So go ahead and pull. What we've got here are Lee Brice lyrics plus different accents. You can't say. Let's say, for example, it's a like Canadian popped up once. I can't say, "Hey, buddy, what's this all about?" Because that's not what's on the sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the challenge comes in. Again, our number is 833-498-5. We'll call tickets, so don't worry about coming to pick them up. We'll send them right to the Five Flag Center, about 90 minutes from here, eastward in Dubuque. All right, go ahead, Kerri. Let's hear what you got.
I pulled this one, and I'm very excited that this is my last one.
Okay.
There's a rumor going round about me and you stirring up our little town the last week or two.
Chipmunk.
No. So tell me why we even trying to deny this feeling.
I have no...
I feel it. Don't you feel it too?
Did you suck in helium?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh. Yep. I didn't know that was an accent, but okay.
That's a
take
very
it.
common accent back east.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
You all need hobbies.
We all need hobbies. You're right.
All right, 833-498-5. Let me pull one of the... I just grabbed the sheet here from Kerri. Let me pull the accent. Oh, this is good. Can I give a clue, or is that against the rules?
I don't know.
It's an accent, but it's an actual person.
Okay.
Kind of like Elmo was. Well, okay, Elmo's not an actual person, but Elmo's a real, tangible character. So is this. 833-498-5. I'm going to let intern Aaron Skyscraper, take some of the calls so we can get to caller 10 here. So if you get a busy signal, keep trying, because we want to make it caller 10. But I'm going to... with a whack on my accent. Oh, this is going to be hard.
Oh, what was that?
Hi, good morning. Who's this? You'll see. Oh. Aaron, you got to... All right. Who's this? Hello.
Hi,
Hi, what's your name?
Brittany.
Hey, Brittany. Where are you calling from today?
Waterloo.
Waterloo. Okay, you're caller number 10, so you have a chance to win Lee Brice tickets. His show is this Saturday, the 13th. Five Flag Center in Dubuque, or as Kerri calls it.
Dabuki.
And so here we go. I'm going to give you the accent. I'm going to do the song Rumor, which you're hearing in the background here. And let's see how you do with this accent.
Okay.
There's a rumor going round and round about you and me stirring up our little town.
Is it Arnold Schwarzenegger?
It's yes,
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it is. Oh, thank you for saving me from spitting all over the place.
Oh my
God. It's not a
You're
very
welcome.
good, not a very good COVID voice to do.
Brittany, I don't know about you, but I was thinking Gru from Despicable Me for a hot second.
Oh, that's pretty good too.
Honestly, I had a feeling that it was going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger for some reason. I don't know why.
did you?
Oh.
Well, hey, you know what? It's a second connection. What month were you born? Maybe we're the same zodiac sign.
May.
Same here. I was born in May.
Wow.
All right. I was born May 18th. So I don't know if that
May
makes...
20th.
All right, look
Oh
at
my
that.
gosh. Are you a radio DJ too?
Which studio are you calling from? Well, hang on for a second, because I'll tell you what you are. You're a winner, and you're the first
Yay.
one. I'll show you how successful this contest has gone. Nobody's won on the first try, so you've broken the mold, and I'm so happy that you are our winner. Hang on for a second. Yes, she got it. How do you know? It's a roundup of weird news stories on Marks in the Morning. Whenever JP is unavailable, I fill in for him, and it becomes instantly my favorite thing on the show. So here is a interesting one. Let me ask you, Kerri. If you had a partner, and he in this case, but in our case, in our story, it's the opposite. But if you had a partner and he was not home a lot, and it appeared as though he was sneaking out, you would assume he was what?
No good cheating.
Yeah,
type of guy.
exactly. Well, this woman was cheating on her boyfriend, but just not in the way that you might think conventionally. This 22-year-old woman was in a 3-year relationship, but it ended when her boyfriend noticed she was making a lot of trips suspiciously outside the home. He confronted her, and she came clean. Yeah, she wasn't cheating. She was eating at McDonald's because he's a vegan.
Oh my gosh.
She had been sneaking out because she's not a vegan, nor does she enjoy that lifestyle, but she was pretending to for him. And so she'd sneak out and get Big Macs or Quarter Pounders or whatever just to eat meat. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm cheating on you. With who? Mac.
Ronald.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. I did have a vegan joke, but it was too cheesy, so I'll say it.
Or it wasn't cheesy. I think.
Was it? I promise it wasn't cheesy.
Yeah, I think that's it. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? I mean, that's like betrayal in a sense because you've been committing to a certain lifestyle.
It's still cheating. Like if you're not a vegan, then just tell your partner, I'm not. You go ahead and do whatever you want, but I'm not into it. I'm not saying she was 100% innocent, but it was just funny that he thought she was cheating, and she's like, well, kind of, but not in the sense that would make you super angry.
Oh my gosh, are they still together?
Oh no, it's still over.
Oh
still
my
over.
gosh.
But hey, it's one of the few weird news stories that doesn't end up with somebody getting arrested.
Not yet.
Not yet. By the way, did you hear what zombie vegans eat?
What?
Grains.
That's funny. That's very funny.
I thought so.
I have no vegan jokes because I feel like the vegans will come after me.
No, those are lighthearted vegan jokes. Lighthearted. All right, we'll be back in just a few. No hearts, though, because you don't need that.
Oh, yeah,
like romaine hearts.
Romaine hearts. Gotcha.
We'll be back on Marks in the Morning with news, weather, and sports, and Dustin Lynch's new song, Mama's House.
Order.
Free food for McDonald's for caller number 10. Who have I got?
Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, you're caller number 10. You win.
Sweet.
Yeah, we'll give you a couple free sandwiches from McDonald's, all yours, and you can win a bunch of sandwiches for an entire year. What are you doing right now, Jeff? Are you going to work?
I'm at work right now, yeah.
Yeah, at work. Okay, you know what? Any place where they let you call a radio station during work, that's a good job right there.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you so much for your call. We'll get your info. And thanks to the Soy for Family McDonald's for these crispy chicken sandwiches. More tomorrow. Good way to end your work week, right? With us and free food from McDonald's. We'll be back with your last Nashville News Minute of the morning and Luke Bryan.